Everybody knows who that is. Mike Smith, Jim Carrey talking about Will Smith. And I'll just say, look, with the apology, I'm glad Will Smith came out with the apology and said what he said. I just wish he had done it a night before. You know, he's sitting there in the audience after you go, and we've talked about it, we've debated it. Should he have done it? Should, you know, hey, you know, who was wrong? Chris Rock? Was Will Smith justified? Point is, he went up there, he smacked him, he went back to his seat. He had time to reflect on what he had done. Now it's no longer the heat of the moment excuse. I just feel like he should have done it when he took the stage. He was still justifying and rationalizing as he accepted the award. So I'm glad he got the apology. I wish he had done it earlier.
Well, let me just be clear on something. I never justified, and if that's how I came across yesterday, I never justified Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. I said that, and I think Gil King was alluding to it, it was in response to a form of violence that we don't often recognize enough. There's physical violence, and we all know that there's no place for that. For the most part, there's no place for that. Because you know what? I'm sorry, this is just me, Brandon. People who say violence is never the answer, tell me what the question is first. So it probably wasn't the answer the other night. But I was not surprised that somebody reacted to that, because I've seen people react to stuff like that by laying hands on people. You can say it wasn't a time or a place, but like I said yesterday, you get wore out where you show out. That's not justification. That's saying that something provoked it. But Michael, on the apologize part, I wasn't surprised he didn't apologize in the moment, because at that point he was still emotional. I talk about the speech, and he's probably still angry at Chris. He had to make a conscious decision. It would have been a pretty quick turnaround, even with the time at his seat. I'd have been surprised if he turned around right then and there and apologized. So I wasn't surprised that he did it yesterday. But Brandon, tell us what these internet streets are saying about our conversation about this whole time in general, this whole conversation in general.
I think the most surprising thing is that there's so many layers to this thing. It's very nuanced. There's all kinds of discussion, and in the comments is a perfect example of it. We have people out here saying that his wife wasn't in imminent danger, so there's no reason for him to step in there. Obviously, people had your take a little bit misconstrued, Michael Smith, on justification for Will Smith, and a lot of people are beating Holley's drum about the fact that Will Smith simply shouldn't act this way. I think why we're taking it so personally is we expect celebrities to act the way they should act while we're watching. And Will Smith, for the first time, was acting like nobody was watching. And we felt kind of disrespected personally, like everyone hates Chris. Let's remember the brands of these people, right? Chris Rock is always getting stepped on and pushed over and made fun of. And Will Smith is just this higher ground, when they go low, we go high type of mentality of a person who was a former rapper. But let's not forget that he was a rapper. So I hear you, Smith. I appreciate the chin check, just because people need to know that you can't just go out here and say anything. Well, but I was a little bit hurt and offended that Will Smith stepped outside of what we expect him to do and put his hands on him.
Hey, Michael, let me just say this to Brandon real quick. Hey, because we always talk about your wardrobe somehow, some way. You kind of look like Fresh Prince dressed you today, and I mean it as a compliment. Like I don't know if that's what you were going for, but I like the flat top going. I kind of dig it.
I decided not to, what I'm saying? I decided not to do the, I was like, let's.
There you go.
Let me dial back a little bit, but yeah.
There it is.
The phrase toxic masculinity has come up quite a bit the last few days. I would just, and I mentioned violence. I would just, again, this isn't like a, Chris Rock deserved to be slapped as much as it is. We got to talk about the emotional and psychological violence that can come from words all the same. Violence doesn't just take on one form. So I want to say this to you, Michael. I think what they should do from here, both of them, is own it. And I don't mean own it like, yeah, I messed up, I apologize. I mean, own this story. Two of the biggest celebrities in a moment that reverberated around the globe. If they wanted to, you want to talk about teachable moment and opportunity. And look, some people have already thought it was staged, and they still somehow think it was staged. So going on the red table talk, it's like, well, you know, that, of course they're gonna monetize it. Whatever the platform, Red Table Talk, Oprah, whatever it is. Imagine getting these two brothers in a room and talking this thing out for real. You know how much good they could do, that could come out of this? If they sat down and talked about all the layers and unpacked this and reconciled on camera and showed love and healing and forgiveness, there's an opportunity here that I really hope
Red Table. Bring Chris Rock to the Red Table.
I'm fine with Red Table. Hey, I mean, that might be a little too predictable, but whatever it takes.
Man, I don't know.
I want to hear from Jada. Jada's voice has been. I would love to hear from her. What does she think about all of this right now? How did she feel in that moment? There's so much to be done and learn from this situation.
That's why I just feel like that's why when you said the phrase, toxic masculinity has come up a lot. I don't want women to be silenced in these moments. Like it's been such a male dominant conversation. Well, if somebody does this to my woman, I got to protect my woman and all that stuff. I do. Great point. I do want to hear from Jada. Did she want to go up there and do it? Did she want to stop Will? Did she encourage him to do it? I mean, like, let's just.
Was she embarrassed?
Let's tell it all. Let's tell the whole thing.
I think the best comment I saw was the fact that I just want to say, somebody said that Will Smith smacked this out of his own career, and I like to think that that's not the case. Yeah, I don't like to think that's not the case.
That's not it. But let me ask you, Mike. Let's make it. We're not making it about us. Just quickly, if you can tell me. Look, I know you've been on national TV since you were 24 years old, something like that, maybe even younger. And we've been in the public eye, not at that level. Have you ever gotten to that level if you had seen somebody who insulted you and your family? Because it has happened. I know it's happened. Have you ever gotten to the point where you were close to punching somebody or slapping somebody? Because I have been.
Not.
Because I have.
No. I mean, not over my family. Not over my family. It's been more
over other stuff.
And the insults is part of it for us. But like I told you, I've also got the mentality of everybody that I might be squaring up with is a trained fighter. Regardless of what I could do, somebody I might be squaring up with. And I'm just, diffused more than anything. The other thing I would say too is that people feel real comfortable, I find, in social media, opining about everything going on with the Smiths. I think that's another part of it too. People have been like, what if it was a white comedian, if it was Kanye West, what if, hypotheticals. Part of the reason that people feel so comfortable going at Will and Jada is because it's Will and Jada. And everybody thinks they know, partly because they've let us in, everything about their marriage and how they should conduct themselves. Thank you, Brandon, for curating these internet streets.
Good job, Brandon.
For Brother From Another.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother From Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.